Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about core values. Leading organizations have core values that they would like their key staff members, people to live and breathe. And as an organization, we aspire to live and breathe our core values. Core values are something that we've had to re-look at and constantly look at. We talked about before about evolving and changing. And we've also looked at our core values and made them what we call fit for purpose. And I'll talk to you a little bit about our core values, our current core values. So, we've got values such as quality is everyone's responsibility. Ownership, accountability, and responsibility in all that we do. We talked about that before. That's a core value that we live and breathe. Another one of our core values is starting with the best intent. Everything is about intention, and you start off with the best intention, the best intent. Acting in the best interest of us all. That's another one of our core values. So we do things where it's acting in the interests of Pathway as opposed to maybe an individual branch or an individual manager or individual team. Acting in the best interest of us all, which is also talking about society in general, the world. We're a profit for purpose organization. Where we talk about sustainable development goals, the global goals, United Nations global goals, and we talk about acting in the best interest of us all. The bigger world macro perspective, as well as individual perspective, but also in terms of us as an organization, ensuring the fact that we're acting in the best interest of us all. The next core value that we talk about is trust, and we say we gain and build trust in all that we do, and we'll talk a little bit more about trust and our definition of trust, and get you to start rethinking what trust means to you, start rethinking the word trust. So quality is everybody's responsibility. So that's the first thing. Quality is everyone's responsibility. People talk about one thing or the other. Do you want quality or do you want quantity? And that's often a word that I've heard used many times. It's one thing or the other, or another. Do you want quality or do you want quantity? Or quality is saying this as in a particular person's job title, quality department. Somebody who's a quality manager, somebody who has the word quality in their job description. We're talking about quality is at the heart of everything, and it ensures the success of an organization. If you can't get quality right, us as an organization, we're not safe. We don't have the foundations of a successful organization. We don't have the foundations to allow us to move ahead. We don't have the foundations to allow a continuous successful journey and successful outcomes. So quality isn't the responsibility of one individual. It's not the responsibility of a particular person or a department or somebody who, as I said, has got the job title. It's the people who have got quality manager in their title, or quality in their title, or quality particularly in their role, their coaches, their facilitators, their mentors, but it's everybody's responsibility. Their job, is to instill principles of quality at all levels, help everyone in the organization, including the executives, senior leadership team, the managers, the tutors, the coaches, the BDMs, the admins, feel driven to achieve excellence. So that's the key here. As an organization, Pathway Group will only make meaningful and sustainable quality improvements when people at every level, at each level of the organization, are committed and feel the fact that they've got that shared desired outcome, that shared desired sort of goal in terms of processes and sort of that continuous approach, the continuous manner the robustness in terms of that. We've all got to buy into that, and I think that's the key in terms of our thinking. So all staff are expected to take personal responsibility in their own way, in their own manner, in their own professional approach with regard to quality, with regard to the standards that we want to maintain and achieve. And quality is, a lot of it is about the standards as an organization that we are accepting, and standards as an organization, as individuals, we don't let we don't let the bar down. So it's setting those high expectations. So we believe as an organization that our staff will exercise the responsibility in a supportive environment where expectations and the standards that I've said are clearly defined and monitored. So they're clearly defined and monitored. It's got to be in a way where there's continuous improvement, continuous, sometimes small micro improvements, and there's a culture of small improvements regularly, which then drives innovation, which encourages, develops opportunities for continuous feedback, for continuous training, and it's a position where you're learning from each other, and it's a position where it just makes it a little bit easier. We're all pushing in the same direction. So this is about quality. Quality is everyone's responsibility. So I'll move on to our next one, and I have touched on this one before, but I think it's so important for us as an organization that we live and breathe this. And it's something that we regularly quote, and it's part of our language, it's part of what we talk about. And this is again about being above and below the line, but specifically about ownership, accountability, and responsibility in all that we do. So ownership, accountability, and responsibility in all that we do, taking personal responsibility for our actions, personal responsibility for deadlines, for targets, for outputs, and inspiring and empowering others to be the best version of themselves, empowering and inspiring others to achieve excellence. So in my sort of simple language, I think ownership is a state of mind where you feel sort of fully in charge, and you don't give yourself excuses, and you don't allow others to come up with excuses in terms of what needs to be done. You're automatically looking at making that difference, making things go on. You're not waiting on somebody else or something else. You're in a position where you take ownership, and as I said, it's a state of mind where you're fully in charge. You're in charge, and you're not giving yourself excuses or reasons why you can't. So ownership and accountability means individuals really taking accountability for the quality and the success of both the performance and outcomes of their own work. So both the performance and outcomes of their work. So these are, in my view, important in terms of it's a way of life really. It's not just about work, it's a way of life. And I think anybody who takes ownership and starts living in a way where they're taking ownership, accountability, responsibility, you start looking at what you've got to do, why are you doing the work, understanding the reasons why, being in a mindset where you understand the bigger picture, you understand what you're doing, but you're not waiting for the sake of it. You understand what needs to be done in the right way, in the right manner, and really this word fit for purpose that I've used before, you live and breathe everything in a way which is balanced, which is fit for purpose. It's also means understanding, being coachable, being in a position where you're teachable, being in a situation where you're continuously learning, your lifelong learning approach, being in a position where you're sort of challenging others as well in an above the line manner, with the right intention. So from my perspective, accountability is a process also at the same time to have yourself and be accountable. Yeah, so within that it comes there comes governance. It's fulfilling your duties and responsibilities. Yeah, and as I said, I think once you sort of live and breathe accountability, live and breathe ownership, live and breathe the fact that you're responsible. You find the fact that not only in terms of work, but in terms of life as well, things start looking better. And I think you're in a position where you're looking forward. You're in a position where you become a harder critic on yourself, and you're continuously looking to improve. Yeah, accountability requires answers that you're asking yourself. So you should be asking yourself certain questions, and it also ensures the fact that you are adequately responsible, and adequately challenged. That could be from peers, that could be from line managers, that could be from stakeholders, from a number of areas. Yeah, and I think once you've got that right, that is a sort of a formula for continuous development, continuous improvement. It's also a way where teams collectively can do better. So we use this thing about we're not a team just because we work together. We're a team because we make each other stronger. And as a team, how do we make each other stronger? We make each other stronger by peer support. We make each other stronger by having the right level of challenge, the right level of support. We also make each other stronger by taking responsibility, by understanding authority, by understanding autonomy, and understanding the outcomes. Again, the word accountability sort of runs through it. Understanding the sort of how the best way to communicate, the right level of communication, the appropriateness of the communication, and allowing us then hopefully to make better decisions, better informed decisions, the right decisions, ultimately right decisions. I think individuals who generally have a sense of ownership and responsibility will strive to grow personally and tend to be generally strong performers. So if you're talking about high performance people, highly driven people, it starts with that. Yeah, it starts with that. So our next sort of core value, we're talking about we talk about always start with the best intent, the best intention. Everything starts with intention. Intention isn't the be all end all, but intention is absolutely vital. Yeah, sometimes people have the right intention, but the impact isn't there. The actions are not necessarily there. I might have an intention to do something, but unless I actually do something, unless I do something with that, it doesn't happen. So, but it does start with the intention. It starts with that element where this is what we're striving to. And I think intention is very important, and it's actually having the right intention as well. Yeah. So, and how do we do that? And from our perspective, we talk about being in a position where you're naturally looking to say yes. Yeah, you're naturally looking to solve that problem. You're naturally looking to say, how do I, as a person, fulfill this? How do I sort of adhere this? How can I say yes? Particularly where yes is the most sort of appropriate answer. And this is about creating. Building trust. It's about fueling creativity. It's about creating safe environments. It's troubleshooting a lot of time, but it's really start with yes, yeah, and then work out how you're going to do that. Another thing that I'll share with you is about automatically aligning yourself to achieving the problem. So you're automatically thinking, how do I make this work? How do we make this work? Overcome the problem, overcome the issues, overcome the obstacles that are placed in front of us. Yeah, we're starting with yes. You're automatically looking for a solution. You start becoming solution focused. You start coming with ideas how you can adapt, how we can change, how we can innovate, rather than being in a position where you're sort of resisting, you're disputing, you're challenging, you're being negative to your team, to your colleagues, to your stakeholders or partners, you're looking to say yes. That automatically, with that mindset, improves customer service, automatically improves many times relationships, automatically improves our business mindset and so forth. And generally we say, have a bias towards saying yes, have a bias and have an inclination towards saying yes, embrace yes, and start working with that in mind and start building on that. Another thing that I'll share with you is I feel that no one can become if you're looking to sort of grow as an organization, you've got to have a can-do approach, and if you have a can-do approach, you start looking at things in a slightly different way. So you start seeing it, you start owning it, you start taking action, and that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about here. So another core value is about how we act in the best interest of us all. So this is about doing things for the right reasons. It's not about doing things right, but it's always about doing the right thing. So do what's best even when no one is watching. That's my sort of thoughts on it. So what are we talking about? We're do what's best even when no one's watching. So you're holding yourself accountable. It's also understanding the fact that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. It's not just about ourselves or our little sort of silo or our immediate people that we define our team, but also understanding the fact that we are sometimes as weak as our weakest link or strong as our weakest link. So there's a lot of interdependency that happens within the organization. So you start looking at that bigger picture, team pathway, protect one and all. And there's a lot of interdependence that we have. Interdependence as within the organization, interdependence in terms of stakeholders, in terms of the partners that we have, and how we sort of are often depend on each other to make things happen. Dependent on each other to make things work. And this is the reason why we say stakeholders. So and a quick definition of a stakeholder is someone who has an interest in the success of the business. Who has an interest in the success of our work, and from my perspective, again, that could be that will be learners, that will be employers, that will be funding providers, that's staff as a whole, that's other colleagues, contractors, and we all recognize that us as individuals collectively we have bigger, broader social responsibilities. We have social values that we're trying to uphold. Many of our contracts now talk about social values, social impact. We continuously talk about the fact that we are a profit for purpose business. We're all about delivering impact. We're all about delivering outcomes, and it's about making that difference, that wider difference as well, and understanding the economy as a whole, the broader elements of the work that we do at a sort of a local level, but also nationally, internationally as well. So the next core values I want to touch on is about trust. And we talk about gaining and building trust in all that we do. So if you've ever been into any type of networking or business networking, they talk about trust, the fact that trust is the ultimate currency. Everything is about trust, and the reason why we sometimes go to a brand or a particular shop or a particular person is about trust. And so we often talk about redefining this word trust, because if you think of it in very simple words, we often talk about trust being about honesty or integrity, but there's a deeper meaning to that word, and this is why some brands flourish and others don't, because it's about trust. It's about how we trust that brand, how we trust that individual. Talk about box office success and film success. They sometimes go to a particular movie star or film star because they feel that that person they can trust to deliver on certain outcomes, deliver on certain results. And this is sometimes the reason why you may go to a particular builder as opposed to another, because there's some element of trust there. And and then you start talking about reputation and various other things. But trust is your ultimate currency, and I'm going to delve a little bit deeper in terms of trust and getting us to rethink that word trust. And as I said, many of us think of trust in that simple context of people and the fact that this person's trustworthy because he's honest, because he has integrity. But it's a lot more than that. And if you think about trust in terms of a work perspective, a lot of that talks about really about competency. It talks about person's track record. It talks about previous results as well, and you start thinking about all of those sort of things. For us, trust is about how our learners see ourselves, how our employers see ourselves, how our colleagues see ourselves as well. And it's many of those factors combined to put us into that position of being a trustworthy provider, being in a position where individuals, employers can trust us to deliver, where funding bodies can trust us to deliver on their outcomes as well. So breaking trust a little bit further down, if you think again, we go back to individuals, and we talk about from an individual perspective, and this is where you can relate to yourself and look at how you as a person can build your own trustworthiness. How you become that trusted person delivering the results and outcomes. So the first part, and there's two parts. There's overall two parts to this trust. There's one which I've said is the individual and the individual's character, and then there's another part in terms of the person's sort of track record, or what we would call their competence. So if we talk about character first, from a character perspective, we're talking about intent and integrity. Intent and integrity. So intent is about does that person actually care? Is the person caring? Does he care about what he's doing? Does he care about his work? Does he care about other people? Does he care about the results that he's got? Does he care about the outcomes? Does he care for the employer? Does he care about the difference that he's making? Is that person transparent? Is the person open? Is there transparency in his work? Is the person openly sharing? Is the person in a position where from an intent perspective, they've got the basic ingredients? They're caring, they're transparent, they're open. But then we move on to integrity. So integrity obviously is about honesty. Is the person honest? Is the individual honest? Is the organization honest in that aspect? Is it fair? We talk about fairness, we talk about authenticity as well. So these are all ingredients of integrity. So integrity, honesty, fairness, authenticity. And then we move on to the other side of trust, and we focus on competence or competency. So competency is about capability, it's about results. So let's take capability first. Capability is about knowledge, it's about skills, it's about experience. That's what we're talking about there in terms of the person's sort of knowledge. What knowledge do they have? Do they know about that particular subject matter? Are they a subject matter expert? Do they have industry knowledge? Do they have knowledge of due process? Have they had the experience to do it? Have they got the track record in terms of that. We then move on to sort of results, and results are based on partly reputation. Reputation is that track record. It's also credibility. So the credibility comes from sometimes the individuals in the organization and their sort of knowledge or track record. Sometimes it could be from awarding bodies. Sometimes credibility comes from having contracts or holding contracts. Sometimes it comes due to certain accreditations like Investors and People, Matrix, ISO 9000, and those sort of accreditations. That gives you credibility as well. Working with certain employers also gives you credibility as well. So what's their credibility? What's their track record regarding to that, and what's their results? What's their performance like? We talked about in another video our results, our success records, our success rates. And I said, we in certain qualifications we're achieving 90% plus. In others we're a little bit lower. So that's about our performance. That's about our feedback that we've had. That's about something that's tangible, that we can prove, and that we can demonstrate the fact that we have a track record in this. We've got performance that we've delivered, and for us as an organisation, we need to sort of support each other in terms of driving maximum performance, creating an environment of trust, develop those sort of meaningful relationships, trustworthy relationships, being in a position where the workplace cultivates an environment where success is what we're continuously striving for. We're always continuously looking forward, always looking at the detail in terms of any issues, being aware of the detail, being in a position where we can build strong relationships with key people. We can build strong relationships with employers, and we're in a position where we can be seen as trustworthy. We're in a position where we not only establish our own reputation, but the reputation of our department, the reputation of our organization, the reputation of the sector as a whole. We can grow strong network of people, be in a position where we're challenging each other, be in a position where we're helping each other to become the best version of themselves, and continuously assisting and supporting each other in the right manner, in the right way. I think no one person is responsible for the success of a department or a company. It's always a team effort, and often people talk about team, and it's a team thing. Trust me, one man, one individual, one person can't be the be all and end all. We need to rely on team effort. We need to rely on systems and processes. We need to be in a position where it's never about that one individual. It's never about that one person. It's about the team effort and everybody understanding their own contribution to the team, understanding their own technical aspects of it, and understanding the fact that this is what my strengths are, what that individual strengths are, and how you can contribute, and how you are comfortable in terms of your contribution as well, and how others can depend on you and rely on you in terms of the workplace. So you're in a position where you become that sort of go-to person. You're in a position where people trust you, trust your character, trust the fact that you've got the right integrity, and you're in a position where you're growing, and you're allowing other people around you to grow. In simple terms, we're an organization again that is aspiring to change lives through skills and work. A lot of that is about having the mindset. It's about understanding understanding ourselves, being in a position where we take responsibility, living and breathing core values. And these values that we've talked about are values that allow us to make that meaningful, impactful difference in all that we do. Hopefully, that meaningful, impactful difference to our fellow team members, ourselves, our stakeholders, employers, and be in a position where we can strive ahead, become indispensable ourselves, become indispensable and partner of choice to funding providers. And that's the reason why we focus on our core values. That's the reason why these core values are the bedrock of our organization, and we continuously need to have them as our vocabulary, as part of our language, and be in a position where we can challenge each other and be supportive of each other. So again, thank you for listening to our core values, and I'll see you at the next video. Thank you.